So just kind of a quick intro. So thank you everybody that is joined tonight. So I'm Sam. I'm actually the Vice President of PSTA of the Pennsylvania Science Teachers Association. I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your evening, both Lindsay and Shawn, as well as everyone else that's on the webinar, just for participating, and then you guys for presenting. We are really excited to have you guys present, and we had a lot of great feedback from the conference about Legends of Learning and what you guys talked about then. So we're excited to kind of continue it tonight. So just a little bit about Shawn. So Shawn is a co-founder and director of district partnerships for Legends of Learning. Prior to joining Legends of Learning, he served as executive director of Democracy Prep Public Schools in Washington, D.C. He led a dramatic improvement in performance at the previously lowest performing school in DC history and started his educational career as a Teach for America Corps member in New York City. As a teacher, he was honored with the Gold Standard Teaching Award from Building Excellent Schools Network, awarded to the top 1% of teachers across the country. Shawn has his BBA in International Business and Economics from Loyola University in Chicago, his master's in secondary mathematics from Pace University, and his MBA from Georgetown. So thank you, Shawn, for spending your evening with us. So I'll turn it over to you.
All righty. So it's kind of a little different. Usually I'm kind of jumping and hooting and hollering, so it's a little different for me to be confined to this like video. However, I'm sure that I will find a way to be highly energetic. So if I get really excited all of a sudden, just I'm forewarning you now, and feel free if you want to get really excited by responding via chat. Totally fine. I'd love that. So very excited to be here today with you guys. Obviously, we want this to be very interactive. So chat, raise your hand, ask questions. Lindsay's going to be kind of my point person on that, so she'll make that happen. But really excited to share this with you. And kind of what we're doing at Legends, but also just kind of how you can incorporate game-based learning into your classroom in general. So I'm going to take it away. All right, so this is one of my favorite slides, and this is something that I've kind of recently discovered, and it's kind of my mantra right now, and I think is going to be my mantra for life. So I was, I don't know if any of you guys ever ride the Peloton. I don't have a Peloton, but I randomly go places and there'll be a Peloton there. And so I started riding. And I ride with the same person usually when I do. And the other day I did a new ride with her, and she had this shirt on that said exactly this: do epic shit. And I was like, that's really cool. And the whole time I rode with her a bunch of times, I had no idea. And I see on the back of her arm a little patch. She's a diabetic, but she's like doing hardcore bike riding and like just making epic things happen. And that is really what one I hope that I embody and kind of what I've done. But also I think what we're trying to do at Legends and kind of transforming the way the class can be. So my challenge to you all is to do the same. So, and let me introduce myself. My name is Shawn, aka Nerd Dog. That's my fancy superhero name. This is my fancy superhero cape. I am a professional cape wearer. I'm seen wearing it at conferences. I'm seen wearing it in airports. Sometimes I sleep in it. As Sam introduced me, I taught in New York City, so I taught in the Boogie Down Bronx and in Harlem. I taught algebra. I'm also a professional, not so much professional, but I'm a rapper. So the way that I got Nerd Dog, the name Nerd Dog, is I taught algebra. My students didn't really like algebra, but they loved YouTube videos, and as I'm sure all of your students do. And so I thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if we made math rap videos with this fictional character named Nerd Dog? So I have really embarrassing YouTube videos out there. Nerd Dog and Britney Spears teach math. Nerd Dog and Shawn Kingston teach math, where the students wrote the lyrics. They helped produce the videos. They love math because of it, and the scores showed that. I had the chance also to run a school, pre-K-8 school in Southeast DC, and was doing a lot of this innovative stuff, game-based learning and other things, before helping co-found Legends. So excited to share a little more about that. So kind of before we dive in, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you guys. What is your name? I think we have that. What is your school and role there? And then what is your favorite game? It can be analog, it can be digital, it can be board game. What is your favorite game? So why don't you all go ahead and answer those.
And everyone's going to be using the chat icon. It's either going to be in the bottom of your screen or the top of your screen. It looks like a little speech bubble. You can type in and talk to us as we go through the presentation today. First up, we have Alexis. She's already helped us out with our podcast name, but I'm very interested to hear her favorite game. Ooh, we have Sam, an AP chemistry teacher at Penn Trafford High School, and his favorite game is Battleship. Great game. Alexis is from Hanover Memorial Math, 6th grade, and hers is Math Jeopardy. It's a pretty good one. As you guys are typing your names, my name is Lindsay Buckle. I'm the Senior Customer Success Specialist at Legends of Learning, and I also help Shawn out with all of his little promos on webinars, podcasts, conferences, all of that kind of fun stuff. And my favorite game is Oregon Trail.
Classic game. For me, it's Mario Kart. I absolutely love Mario Kart. Loved it on the N64. I loved it when the Wii came out with a steering wheel, although I don't know that really helped me any on Rainbow Road. I still fell off a million times. So feel free to keep, to add your stuff as we're going. I'm going to keep going here, but would love to hear what your favorite games are. So, all right. So fun game that we all remember, rock, paper, scissors. Very simple game, right? But we've all played it a million times. And I want to start with a little challenge, which is I want you all to think of how could you incorporate something as simple as rock, paper, scissors into your classroom? And I'll give you a quick example. So I was at a conference a few weeks ago, and one of the ideas I heard was you could use it in a way for like elementary math, right? So you could have, when you did rock, paper, scissors, shoot, you would use one of the numbers, right? And you could either do addition, multiplication, subtraction, division. And the way that it worked is whatever you threw and the other person threw. So let's say you're doing like addition, right? If I throw a 3 and my partner throws a 4, the first one to give me the number that it adds up to wins, right? So you do rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You throw whatever the number is. First one to come with the answer wins, right? And so you could do that with multiplication, division, any of those things. One of the other cool ones we heard, this is for my chemistry guy out there, was doing something on elements or like the periodic table, right? Where you throw a number that relates to the periodic table, and so kind of basically a challenge to can you recall what those are? So it's kind of a fun way to do the periodic table. So would love to hear any ideas that you all have. Again, I'm going to kind of go on to the next slide, but as you come up with those ideas, please share those out. I'd love to hear them. Because this is something that literally tomorrow you could walk into your classroom, you could do rock, paper, scissors in a really fun, engaging way. It's simple. You change one variable to it, and boom, you got yourself a really cool game within the classroom.
Awesome. One other person we have with us here tonight is Gary. He is a retired middle school science teacher, and his favorite game is Jeopardy.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, again, how could you bring rock, paper, scissors in your classroom? Something super simple, and just thinking about how it transforms the space. So I'll give you context for this. So we did this at an event called CAST, which is the PSTA equivalent, but in Texas. And we had about 50 people in the room. We did rock, paper, scissors. And so someone else had actually done rock, paper, scissors, but had never done it in the way that we did it, which was basically if you win, you go on and you face another winner, and you keep going until there's 2 people left. Well, we did this. We had 2 people left. We were outside of, we were in a hotel, and then outside of our room was this huge atrium. I'm talking massive atrium. So you can imagine the acoustics in there were great for this. So we pull everyone out of the room, and we did this in the atrium, and it was the loudest chanting and cheering you'd ever heard. I mean, absolutely transformed this. Everyone was staring at us. And the crazy thing is, these people, none of them knew each other. They literally met each other 2 minutes before we did this, right? But that's how something as simple as rock, paper, scissors can absolutely transform what you're doing. And you'll see it happen with students who never talk to each other within the class, which is really cool. All right, so here are our goals for today. We want to have you guys leave with a working knowledge of game-based learning. So what is it, and how can you bring it into your classroom? Imagine how you can modify games to reach a learning goal of your choice, and then explore game-based learning resources that are available to use in the classroom. All right. Cool. So why is game-based learning so powerful? So years later, what do we remember? We remember this game, Oregon Trail, right? Dying of dysentery, 1,000 or 1 billion times. You've died 1 million times. Your uncle died of cholera, right? And this is something, and really the power of games is you are willing to take risks that you otherwise would not take, right? You're willing to fail again and again and again. And if you think about the 2 buttons on an old school Nintendo console, one of them is power and the other one is reset. Because games allow us to, 2 minutes in, we die. We die of dysentery, right? But we don't stop playing. We come in the next day and we're like, hey, Mr. Reidy, I want to play Oregon Trail again. I want to die of dysentery again. I'm coming to your class just to die of dysentery again, right? And this is really the power. It allows us to fail again and again and again, take risks we normally don't take. And if you think about a classroom, right, a student raises their hand in the classroom. They're like, I think I know the answer. They get it wrong. What tends to happen to those students afterwards? They shut down, right? They shut down. They're like, I'm good. I mean, yes, I'm certain that all the people on this are great teachers, but no matter how good of a teacher you are, it is that student's confidence is gone. They're shutting down, right? No matter what you do to try and inspire them. But in a game, there is no such thing, right? It's not like, oh my God, you are awful at Fortnite. You should never play Fortnite again. That's how bad you are. No, they invented the loser dance for a reason, right? It's like the cool thing to do on there. You can do the loser dance, right? I mean, it's, and so like you just keep playing Fortnite until you're like, I just beat my friend who said it, I would never beat them, right? You just keep playing again and again and again. And that's really the power of games. And we actually did a research study with Vanderbilt University before we got going to really prove this out. And what it showed us was, because students were able to fail and they were able to feel more confident in what they were doing, we actually saw 5.5 weeks of content learned in just 3 weeks. That's almost 2 years worth of growth in a year. And as a former school leader, if I had teachers coming to me telling me they were getting 2 years worth of growth, I would be like, just keep doing what you're doing because it's clearly working. And then the impact we also saw on students with disabilities was actually greater than having a full-time one-on-one tutor. And it goes back to what I was talking about with rock, paper, scissors, where I had students at my school where we were high emotionally disturbed students who would run, literally, they'd be sitting 1 minute, they'd be running out of class the next minute. But when it came to video games, they would sit down, they would play those games. They would talk to students and teach other students because they understood how to play the games. And they normally would never do that, right? And so just talk about games transforming the space. I mean, it totally transformed students within the classroom and totally transformed their confidence with the material, which is pretty cool. All right, cool. So I want you to think back, another chance to kind of think back to this game before. Video game, athletic game, analog game. I want you to share the soft skills that you learned from this game. So share this in the chat box. What are some of the soft skills? Maybe it was basketball, right? Maybe it was basketball. Maybe it was, Oregon Trail. What were some of the soft skills that you learned from these games? Go ahead and add those to the chat box. I see thinking. I see it. I see it happening.
I feel like I'm watching the typing bubbles
Oh yeah.
on like the iPhone.
Oh, it's happening.
Yeah, I'm thinking through like we had some battleship here. You know, what's a soft skill you can get from battleship?
I think like in high school, which you'd think at that point kids might have some more soft skills, but like how to cooperate and like work with people that they don't normally work with. That's always what I tell my students. Like, I'm helping you learn how to work with people that you might not want to work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Collaboration is huge.
Yeah.
Collaboration, communication, right? Like, how can I articulate what I'm thinking, what my move is, right? Alexis jumped in and said, you know, commitment, reasoning, and strategic planning. I mean, you know, absolutely. Like, so much strategic planning, right? Like, what is my next move? Catan's a great one for those who play it, where you have to think a couple steps ahead. I mean, Jeopardy's kind of even the same way, right? So those are some good ones right there. All right.
Ooh, Jennifer came in with critical thinking and problem solving.
Yep. Yeah, no, critical thinking is absolutely key, and it happens in pretty much every game that we play, right? Even thinking about rock, paper, scissors, simple game, rock, paper, scissors, you're thinking, what is the other person going to throw? You're strategizing around that, right?
Yeah, Gary with communication, basketball, both verbal and nonverbal communication. I really like that one. Kind of like reading other people. An important soft skill that basketball definitely, along with other games, helps develop.
And I mean, just to build on this, right, we really want to be supporting our students in developing these soft skills. These are things that at a high level, we talk about how important it is and how we need to incorporate it, but it's really hard to actually do. And games is one of those ways that really allow you to do that quite well. So like communication, problem solving, empathy, creativity, right? Collaboration, critical thinking, all the things we just said, those are soft skills we're looking to build on, and games really help us do that. Right, so again, to the point of the strategies, right? Strategies and failing, and then again, you try it again. And games are systemic, right? So you can take them, whatever it applies, like rock, paper, scissors, you can take something like that, and you can apply it to other different types and styles of games. Players constantly get feedback, right? You're constantly getting feedback, whether you get something right or whether you get something wrong, right? The next time you play it, you're going to learn from that. And so you're constantly getting feedback in a way that you don't feel ostracized, right? A lot of times in the classroom, what happens is, you answer, and, some teachers will say, well, good try or whatever, but like, that's not really giving them a ton of feedback, right? Versus like when they're playing a game, they get it wrong, they lose or whatever, it's constantly giving them feedback. Games give players a need to know new knowledge and skills, right? So they're constantly building on that. So really, really powerful way to build those soft skills that we try so hard to do. So this is James Paul G is kind of famous in the game-based learning world. He is really taken and tried to apply game-based learning within the K-12 space. And so I'm not going to read all these because it's too long a list, but I'll let you take what do you think strikes you. But these are the 16 components to good game-based learning. And I mean, I'll just, highlight a few that really stick out to me, which, I kind of hinted on the risk-taking piece. I think that's really big. I think pleasantly frustrating is one that I really like, because it's a little bit, games are always challenging in some way, and so you're frustrated, but it's something that you're happy about it because you're not going to give up, right? You're going to keep trying. Like you're going to. I love the game. I don't know if anybody's ever played Golden Tee, the golf game. So like old school golf game, but my parents had that in their basement. I absolutely love it. Like I stay up till 4:00 sometimes when I go home and play with my brother, and we try and beat every record on there. And it's sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, but just that pleasant frustration of just constantly trying it and going. So I don't know if any stick out to you guys, or feel free to jump in and share any that stick out that you think are important. But yeah, James Paul G is the man. So just want to highlight some benefits of playing games. So we talked a little about the soft skills, the social skills, right? And it creates this positive interaction. When you're collaborating with others, it's just done in a very positive way, which honestly is something that has to be very thoughtful when you're trying to do that just naturally in a classroom, because a lot of times students kind of push each other's buttons, but in games, they really tend to work together. Play really activates this part of your brain where you're using that critical thinking piece, right? Reason and judgment. It's encouraging you to speak and use your verbal skills and nonverbal as well. And the skills associated with them actually lead to better academic performance, as I kind of hinted with our research study with Vanderbilt. And that comes to us from an NPR article I read a little while ago. Okay, so I want to give a couple different examples to kind of distinguish games and game-based learning, and so everyone kind of knows. Game experience is something like using digital or analog games to support learning. Something like Legends of Learning is a great example of this, right? Where it's actual game-based learning. We're actually doing the learning through the game. And so that's one component of a classroom example. So game experience, game-based learning. Game-like experience. So this is something where you take on some sort of role, okay, around a challenge or a problem, and you actually act it out, right? So it doesn't have all the parts of an actual game, but it feels very game-like in the sense of you are going through and you are living or breathing whatever the challenge or problem is. And so that's what we like to call a game-like experience. And then the last is what is called gamification, right? So game-based learning and gamification are kind of two separate things. A lot of times they're used synonymously, but Legends of Learning is not gamification, right? Legends of Learning is game-based learning. Something like Class Dojo or Classcraft, right? Those are, that's gamification, right? Where you're applying elements of game to something that's not a game, right? So, you did a good job today, so you get, this many XP points, right? And kind of applying it in that way to gamify whatever it is you're doing. I'm going to pause there for a second to see if anyone had any questions on any of the three kind of classroom examples of games and learning. Okay. All right, so modifying games to reach a learning goal. So I want to talk a little bit about this, kind of a fun way. And this is definitely, you guys need to get your thinking caps on, because we're going to play a little game here. So you guys are going to be definitely getting in the chat box here. So we're going to do something called remix play, okay? And this is again, so I've shared rock, paper, scissors. I think that's a great, easy, simple game that you could take, modify one little component of it, bring in your classroom. This is another example of something you can bring in your classroom tomorrow, okay?
Before we go ahead and dive in, Gary has a question.
Yeah.
What would SMART goals be?
So in terms of what does the actual acronym stand for, or just like around game-based learning?
Maybe we can talk about the acronym and then go into what it would look like for game-based learning.
Yep. So it's I have to remember this now. Measurable.
Specific.
Measurable.
Measurable. Attainable. Realistic.
Yep.
And timely.
That's right. Yeah. So kind of as you're thinking of the different things you're going through, how can you actually incorporate SMART goals within that?
Awesome. Thanks, Gary.
Cool. So remix play, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to have two cards appear on the screen. Okay. The first card is going to be what is called a game inspiration card. Okay. And I'm going to give an example of this in a second. The second card is going to be a topic card. Okay. So I'm going to give you some random topic. Your goal is to create a new game in 90 seconds. Okay, and I want you guys to type your idea in the chat box. Okay, there's no right or wrong answer. Okay, this is a game. Totally okay. Whatever you come up with, I'm sure it'll be great. I might use it on the podcast. I'm just kidding. All right. Okay, so here's the first one. And the first one, I'm going to give you an example just so you understand how the game works. Okay? So the game card is hide and seek, and the topic card is sales. So we're trying to increase sales, and we're going to use hide and seek to do it. Okay? So let's say I'm a manager of a store. So here's the game. I'm going to hide coupons in the store. And if you find coupons, there might be a free shirt. There might be 50% off coupon, right, for your whole purchase. So I'm going to hide coupons throughout the store, and you have to go find them. So that as you find them, those people can use them and buy whatever they want to buy. So that's an example of hide and go seek, simple game that we know. Apply it to something like sales. That's an example. Okay? Any questions before we dive in? Okay. Are you ready? Let's do this. All right, party people. Here we go. Round one. Here we go. Game card is Pictionary, and the topic card is international relations. Go. Give me a game idea.
The timer has started.
Well, Lindsay, you're not playing any do. I mean, I feel like so many people like Jeopardy. We should be playing Jeopardy music here.
That's so true. I don't think we need to play the music. You're doing great, Shawn.
Crushing it. Not only am I a rapper, I'm also, I do a little sound work. Oops. Oh, what's happening? There we go.
We have about 30 seconds left.
30 seconds, all right.
Can't wait to see the ideas.
You need some inspiration. Just imagine, put on your invisible superhero cape, and ideas just start flowing. They just start flowing. It's magical.
Amazing. That's 90 seconds. Please feel free to keep throwing in your ideas. But Alexis has given us Model UN through cartoons. I like that one. I can see it.
Very cool.
I was also thinking quizzing on the flags of the United States. You're drawing the flag and people have to shout out what country it comes from.
That was the first thing I thought with that picture.
With the picture?
Doing Pictionary with flags. It makes me think of fun with flags.
Yes. Yeah.
That's cool. All right, round two. Here we go. Remarks, get set. Party! All right, Pokemon Go and ecology. What? 90 seconds, go.
Can you give a quick overview of Pokemon Go for those of us that don't remember?
Yeah, so basically it's like an app on your phone, and there's all these different things you have to collect, and you kind of it provides you basically a walking tour, and you find those things, you collect them, you get points and whatnot.
Got it.
You get Pokemon, and then you get to battle your Pokemon. Stuff
okay,
like that.
I remember now. I just remembered it was there was a craze, and then it went away.
Oh, yeah. People were walking in the streets and getting hit by cars. It was a whole ordeal.
You'd see 100 people in one small space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While they're working on that, Gary sent in draw pictures of flags and have them match those with the shape of the country.
That's
I
cool.
like that one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really hard.
Yeah. And
That's
then
cool.
also from Gary, walk around and find abiotic and biotic factors in a wooded area.
Wow.
I like that. Go through, snap some pics maybe. Find organisms in a food web from Jennifer.
You guys put on your invisible superhero capes, I can tell.
Yeah, stepping it up in round 2. Awesome. We got about 15 seconds left for Pokemon Go versus ecology.
I was thinking too, like if it was doing almost like a walking tour after reviewing, is it like biomes? I'm not a biology person. Is it like biomes though? And you go around and you can like basically review each one. So you can pick out like main ideas from each type of biome.
Yeah, I like that one. Jennifer is also identifying environmental issues. I like that one.
Jennifer, you just gave me an idea for one. To build on yours, identify environmental issues. You basically, they pop up on this Pokemon Go app, right? And then you have to, other people, essentially, you take a picture of it or whatever, other people can like come up with ideas on how to solve the environmental issue. So then it's like this collaborative like community where you're like coming up with different ideas to solve the environmental issue. So you take a picture of it, you see what it is, and then other people come up with ideas how to solve it.
I like it.
Cool. All right, round 3, here we go.
Oh, Alexis is coming in right before we move on with conservation icons and do a scavenger hunt. So kind of in the same vein. I love the environmental issues, conservation theme we have going on. Awesome. Round 3.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. Round 3. Here we go. All right. Candy Crush, which everyone loves and knows, and equality. Go. By the way, I saw that there's a new version of Candy Crush, which is like, it takes wordscapes. I don't know if you guys are familiar with wordscapes, but it basically takes wordscapes and puts in Candy Crush form.
Oh.
So you like spell the words and the words like drop down, different letters drop down. I don't know what it's called, but I saw a guy on the plane playing it the other day. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's really fun.
Yeah, Candy Crush, and so this is what I'm saying. You can make games out of anything. Take simple games like Candy Crush and incorporate, a little knowledge on the language side.
About 10,
All
15
right.
seconds left. Here we go with our first idea, Alexis. Students can work in groups to present different facets of equality and can move through levels as they put the lessons into practice.
Nice.
I like that one a lot.
That's cool.
Awesome. Well, that is our 90 seconds for our round 3. If anyone else had any other ideas, feel free to just throw them into the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Incognito, you gotta take these. These are some good ideas here.
Absolutely.
Save them for later. Awesome. Thanks, guys, for sharing. That was fun. All right, cool. So kind of a quick challenge overview. So as I mentioned, any game can be adapted for the classroom, right? Take a simple game. So here's my kind of three ideas for you guys. Take a simple game, one like rock, paper, scissors, right? And change just one variable, right? Change one variable and try and fit it into something you're doing tomorrow, something you're doing next week, before kids get out. Because let's be honest, the last week before winter break, brutal, right? But if you're playing rock, paper, scissors, and you had a rock, paper, scissors challenge all next week on the periodic table, holy cow, that's the greatest week of school history, right? And let me know about that. Maybe I'll come to PA and check it out. The second thing is get students involved, right? Don't you just come up with the ideas. You don't have to come up with all the ideas on your own. These students are creative. The more we let them explore, right, they have ideas too. Let them come up with ideas for how to modify it. I mean, take this challenge to your students tomorrow, right? Friday is always a fun day to do something like this. Say, hey, let's do rock, paper, scissors. How can we incorporate it in whatever we're teaching next week? And then the last piece is whatever you come up with, you have to play test and you have to iterate, right? You got to test it out. You got to test it out and constantly change it and modify it. And that's actually, you know, something that we do on our platform regularly. We're just constantly iterating on what we're doing. The games are constantly being iterated to be made better. So those are kind of my three takeaways for you guys and 3 challenges for you guys. Okay, so wanted to share with you some available game-based learning resources. So something as simple as dice, cards, apples to apples, right? Things that you guys have around the house can be very easily translated into games that you can use in the classroom. For context here, we did something with apples to apples, and a really cool idea that they came up with was the green card's the one you always want to win. But what they did was they started with the green card in the middle and kind of went around in a circle, and you, based on whatever you had to, it was kind of like dominoes, right? And so you would attach something that you had and explain why it related to whatever the green card was, right? So then that piece of communication, right, and critical thinking is right there. So pretty cool. Edutopia is kind of made with play series. It's something really cool. And then Disruptive Media Learning Lab is another thing to check out as well. So all great game-based learning resources to check out. And then one other one, which I know and love very well, is Legends of Learning. So wanted to share that we are a game-based learning platform. We have over 2,000 games for 3rd through 8th grade math and science, aligned to a ton of different standards. So we're aligned to NGSS, that's kind of our main product. We're also aligned to state standards based on where we have that. As I mentioned earlier, we're backed by research from Vanderbilt University. And the platform is really designed, well, let me ask this question first. Did you all need professional development on how to use this thing? Nope, you sure didn't, right? And that's what we want to create, is we want to create we really worked hard to create a platform that, you know, I'm a former teacher. We have a number of former teachers that are on our team that empowers teachers to help students through gameplay, but is also user-friendly, right? That's really easy to use. And so at the bottom there, I put, you all can access this, you know, login.legendsoflearning.com. You can sign up for an account. We obviously have a free version, right, where you can sign up, play around with it, explore, see how the games, you know, are actually learning by doing. We obviously have a version that is a little more robust, but you can always access the free version as well. So definitely encourage you to check it out. It's game-based learning in action. It's something that literally you could walk in your classroom and use with students tomorrow if you wanted to. So it's another great resource for you to use. All right, so kind of closing out, it's crazy to think, holy cow, 40 minutes, that was a fast 40 minutes. I hope you guys had fun, because I sure did. Still trying to bring the energy, still trying to rock this cave. Here are our goals, right? So leave with a working knowledge of game-based learning. I think we covered that. Imagine how you can modify games to reach a learning goal of your choice. I mean, you all came up with ideas for that with the Remix Play. So, and again, that's something you could steal and bring into your class tomorrow. And then the last one is explore game-based learning resources, which we just did, that are available to use in your classroom tomorrow. So want to stop there, and first off, thank you all for joining. This was a lot of fun, and want to open it up to any questions that you all have.
And I think you probably all saw, but Sam, our great host for tonight, did post the link for tonight's evaluation. So you guys can give your feedback on how you thought it went, if you enjoyed it, and what you think we can improve for next time. So definitely fill out sometime tonight so PSTA can get the data that they need from tonight's webinar.
And I'm like a middle school student. I appreciate brutal honesty, so please just let me know. We're always looking to improve.
Alexis is asking if you could send her the slideshow She was trying to write everything down, but couldn't quite grasp it all.
Yep, we can do that.
Absolutely. Sam, are you guys going to be sending out a follow-up email from tonight?
Yeah, I can send out, so everyone that registered, if you want to send me the slides, I can send them out to everybody. So Lindsay and I are working together, so we will share all the information, and then I can always send the slides out to everybody that registered as well.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah. And I'll be posting that along with the recording. Once we have all of that, I'll be posting that onto PSTA's website as well. So if you want to go back and rewatch or anything like that, you can do that as well.
Awesome. And while people are typing up their questions, just a quick plug for people who are really into game-based learning. I live in Baltimore. Shawn lives close to DC. And Baltimore is actually hosting the 2020 Game-Based Learning Summit this year, which is really exciting. Legends of Learning is one of the sponsors of the event. So if you're interested in game-based learning, really want a full day to dive deeper into it, how you can use it in your classroom, the Game-Based Learning Summit is an awesome opportunity for you guys to do that. And it's kind of close to Pennsylvania, so.
It's always funny on these Zoom calls. You're like, oh, is anyone out there? What's going on here, right? It's like the opposite of a conference call, right? Where you're like, everyone's trying to talk at the same time, and you're like, what'd you say? Right? It's sometimes crickets, but that's totally cool. No, this was a lot of fun. This is something we're looking to do a lot more of. Just get people excited about game-based learning. How can you incorporate something like that in your classrooms? And so, we had a blast tonight. I will have one slide for you guys. So there's my contact information. Feel free to incorporate this, or feel free to email me if you have any questions. That's my cell. Happy to answer any questions that you guys have. But really had a lot of fun today, and thanks all for joining.
Yeah, I think our last question here is from Gary. Even though he's retired, he goes back periodically to help out. And is it okay to share this info and the slides with teachers he knows?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Gary. We really appreciate it, even though you're not in the classroom. And please feel free to share anything that you saw or learned tonight with the teachers that you work with still.
Gary, the only request I have for you is you got to come up with a superhero name before you go and do that. Okay? All right?
Everyone needs a superhero name.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending this evening with us. Shawn and I really appreciate talking to you guys about game-based learning, and as teachers being open to bringing fun and engaging content into your classroom.
Sam, thanks for having us too. We
really
appreciate it.
Lindsay and Shawn, thank you guys for presenting and for taking time out of your evening. I know it was short, but I think that the participants got new information, resources, and even people that will end up watching the recording will be able to share this with colleagues, which I think will be great too. So just kind of a reminder for everyone that is still on the webinar, if you, again, click on that link for the evaluation, it will actually send you a certificate of attendance. So if your school, your district, or whoever gives you any kind of professional development hours, you'll get a certificate once you submit that evaluation. And then again, everything is on PSTA's website as well. So if you go to pascience.org, you'll find information on that. We actually will be having NSTA, the area conference in Pittsburgh, in October of next year. So I don't know if you guys are interested in presenting at NSTA, the area conference there, but we have a lot of information on our website about proposals and everything like that too. So yeah, so just thank you guys for taking your time out of your evening tonight to present on game-based learning.
Absolutely.
I hope everyone has a great rest of their Friday Eve and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Bye.